Oh, thank you so much, friends. It is such a delight to be here with you today. This is our second show today. We were earlier today in a prison, and as long as they keep letting me out, I keep going back in. So happy to be here with you. We've played in every venue imaginable. First of all, I want to introduce these three unbelievable soloists. We have Mingyao Zhao on the cello, we have Valerie Height on the violin, and Jaehyun Kim as our singer. Friends, without exaggeration, these three can solo anywhere in the world. Anywhere. So I'm so excited and honored to have them perform my music. Just stellar musicians and soloists. But we go in all kinds of places. So we play in concert halls, we play in churches, we play in sort of homes and celebrity homes, and I play in a lot of country clubs because I'm always trying to raise money for my work, because I've thrown my life at playing in a lot of dark places. So I've played many prisons. Over the past several years, I've played over 1,000 shows in prisons. So everything from, super maximum security prison up in Northern California called Pelican Bay, where they receive multiple lifetime sentences. Those stages are pretty dark, they're pretty hidden, they're pretty tough. To death row. Next month I'm playing death row in Texas, Playing a lot of inner city schools, playing a lot of rehab centers, and the question is, why do that? Well, in order, the real answer, it is because of my conviction of the impact of music on the individual and on civilization. I believe the world, I believe people look at themselves with an elevated viewpoint. They elevate their humanity when they are constantly exposed to beauty. So that's why I go in and I play in these places. So we go in and we play, but times have changed. If you look at how, life is now, even when I was a kid, I'm 56, when you wanted to hear music when I was a kid, it was difficult. You had to save your $20, you had to get to the record store, and then you had to come home and sit in the room and listen. So it was expensive, then it was inconvenient, and then it was inaccessible. You sat in that room and listened. You didn't walk around. This didn't exist, and now our young have the world library of music at their fingertips. Is that good? Well, instinctively we would say, yeah, that's great, that's progress. Well, let's do a bit of a deeper dive, because our young do little else more than they listen to music. Maybe they breathe more than they listen to music. Maybe not. In the morning, on these go. During school, on this goes. After school, on this goes. Every video game they play, there's music behind. Every series they binge, there's music behind. Every movie they watch, there's music behind. Constant exposure to music. Is that good? Well, friends, we know there's many different genres of music, and some of them are wonderful. And some of them use poetry in a way that's clever and innovative and new and fresh and exciting and uplifting. But last year, one of the most famous pieces was so vulgar, I won't even repeat the title up here. Now, it doesn't scare me, but the reality is it belittles me, it belittles my great soloists, and it belittles you. I won't even mention the title. Now, to you, it may think, yeah, what's the big deal? Well, you know what, friends? I play to tens of thousands of young people a year. And to a third grader who listens to that stuff over and over and over, that's called formation. They are learning to look at themselves and learning to look at civilization through those eyes. You give a civilization a steady diet of angry music, people will look at life through the eyes and through the lens of aggression. You give a civilization a steady diet of pessimistic music, they will look at life through the lens of cynicism and hopelessness. And you give a civilization a steady diet of beauty, and they look at life with hope and awe and wonder and goodness and expectation. Beauty matters. But my favorite definition, friends, when you think about, if beauty doesn't matter, then let them listen all they want. Well, let's hear what the experts have said. Thousands of years ago, Confucius said, if you want to know the morality of a nation, let me hear the music, period. Plato said, if you want to govern a nation, you don't need the laws, you need the music. Is that amazing? Was he a madman who overspoke? Or is there something to music that he understood that we refuse to see. Plato also said music is a moral law. It gives soul to the universe and wings to the mind, and flight to the imagination, and a charm and a gaiety to life and to everything. Beautiful. But my favorite definition of music, I was playing for 300 youth, 15-year-old kids in a youth prison. Every one of them was tried and convicted as an adult. They were all going away for 30 plus years. It was a heavily ganged area. The gang leader was in the front. And we started to play, and the boy, at the end of the concert, the boy stood up. And he said, "Can I hear that violin alone?" And the violinist played. And he said, "That violin's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. Why have I never heard it before?" He put his hand over his heart, threw his head back, and he started to weep. And I said, "Son, you haven't heard it before because I didn't bother coming in earlier." What made that boy weep? Maybe it's the first time he's been exposed to something that gave him a clear vision of who he really was as a dignified, beautiful person. And it elevated him, and he couldn't even control his emotions. I'll go in and throw my life at playing for those kids all day long. That's why I go in. So friends, I'm so excited to perform for you this evening. All the works you're going to hear are works that I've composed. This first piece is a piano, violin, and cello trio. This is called Rebellion. Thank you. This next piece, friends, is a vocal and a violin duo. Now, there are no words to this piece. Okay, this is a piece called Promise. What it is, it's a vocal and violin duet. So the main themes are passed between the two. But then there's a lot of great counter melodies in the cello. So a great way to listen to this piece, listen to the violinist, listen to the cellist, listen to the singer, and isolate each of them throughout. This piece is Promise. Thank you. This next piece, friends, is a piece called Redemption. And Redemption is a piece that I wrote after a boy up in Northern California who was in a youth prison. Now, this boy had an incredible story. It made no sense to go and do that concert up in Northern California for one boy, all the logistics that are involved in setting up a concert, but the prison asked, would you come and play for this one child? And so we went and we played, which involved, to go up to San Francisco and perform means I have to fly into Phoenix because that's where my sound gear is in the West Coast. So I had to go into Phoenix. I got to load my gear into a rental truck and then drive 15 hours up to San Francisco. It's not easy. But for one boy, it makes no sense. Except let me tell you about the boy. When the boy was 11 years old, he got sick. So his mother did a very reasonable thing. She took him to the hospital. She just never picked him up. Now, we think, oh, that just doesn't happen. Friends, that's the majority of my audience. There are so many people in this world that have, that are loved and that are cared for and nurtured and so on, and so many that are bent through no fault of their own. And it's tough. We have to reach out to them. So this boy, to defend his mother, she knew psychologically, emotionally, and mentally, she could not care for the child. So she did what she considered the safest thing, and that was to take him to the hospital. But to the boy, everything he knew about comfort, belonging, familiarity, security. And so, friends, he committed his crime, was in prison, got into a bit of trouble, hung out with the wrong guys. At 15 years old, they called us, so we had been in there 4 years. We went. In those 4 years, the boy had never been hugged. Nobody ever said, I love you. Nobody ever said, I'm going to make sure I'm going to mentor you. I'm going to teach you a trade so that you know when you get out how to live and supply and support yourself. I'm going to teach you how to be confident and to interact, and I'm going to teach you how to socialize with people of all different levels. I'm going to teach you how to shake hands and look at someone in the eye. I'm going to teach you how, to be successful, and when you're not, how to get up. Nobody. No guidance. No Merry Christmas, no Happy Birthday. Essentially what we've done is we've thrown enough food at the boy so that he looks like an adult, but there is nothing in here that in any way would say he's ready for adulthood. So friends, we went and we played for this boy. And at the end of the show I said, what's the plan? He said, the plan is to come right back. It's a real poverty when people think that their only hope of survival is incarceration. But in prison, you find that they self-condemn. I'm worthless. Who told you you're worthless? I'm no good. Who told you you're no good? My life has no purpose. Who told you your life has no purpose? Who told you these lies? I go and play for people with PTSD who suffer greatly, and they say, no God could ever forgive me for the horrible things I've done during war. Who are you? God's lawyer? It's based on no truth whatsoever. It's just we come to these conclusions and we self-condemn. Very often our minds become our worst enemies because they convict us and they they haunt us more than anybody else could ever judge us. So friends, I think it's okay to question how you do things. I should be more generous. I should be more patient. I should be kinder. All those things. It's good. Work on them. But we should never question our dignity. Young, old, rich, or poor, regardless of where you're from, there is a profound, unspeakable, immeasurable, beautiful, mystical dignity that is sublime, and that you can't earn and you can't lose and you can't win and you can't buy it. It's a gift to humanity. And so, friends, I wanted to write a piece of music that just uplifted the reality of who we are. So it's got nothing to do with how popular or how much money you have. My beautiful daughter, I have a daughter with Down syndrome. She has it as much as anybody else. So, friends, this is Redemption. Now, musically, it's a fun piece because there's two main themes in this piece, and I'm going to ask my musicians to play them. And I'm going to ask you to listen to these two themes and identify them through the whole piece. The first is introduced by the cellist. Why the cello and not the violin? Because Ming Yao paid me more money than Valerie. That's just how it goes. Didn't really work like that. But this first theme represents the struggle of redemption, because sometimes we have to overcome certain things in ourselves to live a higher life. Ming Yao, if you can please play that. Beautiful. The second theme represents the glory of redemption. So you're going to hear these two themes played back and forth, sometimes emphasized in the cello, sometimes the violin, but the real magic is when they're played together, because sometimes the glory of redemption is realized through the suffering. Suffering is probably the only thing that unites us all. We don't all experience joy, peace, or hope, or prosperity, but to one degree or another, friends, we suffer. But that doesn't mean there's no dignity. Sometimes that suffering can be gold, because sometimes it gives us a perspective that's higher. Have you ever been in a situation where you thought, oh, I never want to go through that again, but I learned so much? Sometimes suffering does that. And, as a beautiful introduction, a beautiful prayer, if we think about it in a mystical level, the salvation of us came through the most hideous suffering ever. And that was death on a cross. This piece, friends, is redemption. Thank you, friends. We have one more piece for you this evening. So this was this is maybe just a little over half of what we usually do as far as a show. But just because of the hour and because there's young ones, we have one more piece for you this evening. This is a piece called Here I Am. So just before we play it, what an honor it is to come here and to share this music with you. I'm very honored to have these three wonderful young ladies, extraordinary performers, perform my music. What a gift to me. I'm very, very grateful for that. I'm 56. I know one day it's going to come to an end. In the meantime, I'm having a ball. Every note, I feel so much joy. So this last piece, friends, is a love song, and it's a love song. My wife and I have been married close to 30 years, and we have a beautiful daughter. Our youngest daughter has Down syndrome. Now, it's interesting to look at how civilization looks at people with Down syndrome, people with disabilities, and so on. And we hear a lot of, we hear that we're doing things for them, and that's wonderful. But there's it's just a lot of interesting things how society as a whole. So different civilizations have made it sort of a point that, by such and such a year or in the near future, we want to be rid of all Down syndrome. And I think that's interesting. Be rid of cancer. Cancer's a disease. Down syndrome is not a disease. It's just a condition. What exactly do you want to be rid of? Why is that the goal? So friends, I could complain about that all day, but I'm going to tell you a story. We go as a family and we play in different places like nursing homes, and it's really good. We love to do it. We don't sound like this when we go in as a family. My children aren't as accomplished as these extraordinary people, but we have a ball anyway. And we go in and we play. And one time we were in a nursing home, and there was a woman who came out of a room and she was broken. And my beautiful daughter with Down syndrome just approached her and just climbed in her lap and just warmly embraced her, put her arm around her neck, and put her head to the woman's forehead. And then my daughter started to weep just as hard as the woman. Isn't that amazing? She didn't know this woman. She didn't know how successful she was. She didn't know what part of the world she was from. All she did was climb in her lap and show this woman great love. I'll tell you what I saw. I saw perfect human compassion. Nothing got in the way of my daughter showing this woman human to human love. No political ideology, no social ideology, no sort of, sitting there with their hands in your pockets. Are my friends going to approve of this move and looking for sort of pure approval? Because if my friends don't approve of this, I'm not going to jump in her lap. My daughter doesn't know to care what her friends thinks. You and I suffer from that disease. We're very aware of what people think of us. My daughter doesn't know that. So she just jumped in her lap and embraced her with everything that she was. I did not hug the woman. And I didn't hug the woman because I thought if I hug the woman, it's going to make her feel uncomfortable and make other people around feel uncomfortable. Isn't that incredible? I missed a great opportunity to show beautiful human compassion to another person, and I'll never get that opportunity back. I'll do anything to get that back. Here this woman was broken. I'll never see her again. And this woman was broken, and I had the chance to go and show her something higher. And I missed it. I talked myself out of it. Aren't I smart? And I live with that regret. And you know what else it makes me feel and it makes me focus on? How many other opportunities have I had to be charitable and good and loving to other people, and I missed it because I was so concerned about anything else and so distracted. And I live in this sea of missed opportunities, and I'm becoming more and more aware at how many opportunities come to us daily. Could be a smile, could be a handshake, it could be just a short conversation that would mean so much to other people, but we're too busy and we don't even see the need. My daughter taught me that. So I'm walking by the woman and I'm thinking, I'll take my children to ice cream. I'm thinking ice cream. Isn't that amazing? This woman's broken. I'm thinking ice cream. You know what I'm feeling for the woman? Nothing. And all I could think about, friends, was when did I die? When did I stop feeling for people? So I don't want to be that person, I'm 56, that dies, whatever, 5, 10 years down the road, but never loved. I don't want to be that. You know, I'm very grateful in my work. I get to play in a lot of, really, wonderful, sometimes very big events, sometimes for celebrities. And one of the things I noticed when I play for different people who are more famous is that the public really loves them and wants to have an encounter with them. Do you know why the public really loves them? Because they're easy to love. They're good looking. It's that good looking girl, that good looking guy, that professional actor, the professional athlete, the guy who lights up the room with all of his charisma. These people are easy to love. There's a whole lot of people that are easy to love in our civilization. And then there's a whole bunch of people that are difficult to love, like my daughter. So my beautiful daughter, she can't even finish a sentence. Nobody's going to ask her, Anastasia, what do you think of the current political administration? What do you think of the last one? What do you think about the national debt? How about inflation? Aren't you worried about inflation? She doesn't know those things. Nobody cares about her opinion. Isn't that amazing? So when I look at this, friends, my daughter's like everybody else. She wants love, she wants friendship, she wants meaning. The interesting thing where we're sometimes sort of misled, we think, joy and happiness comes in that better cottage, the bigger boat, comes in the faster car, early retirement, more money in the bank. It comes into all the bigger house, all those things. It does not. Because when we die, all those things die with us. However, the greatest euphoric expression in the human condition is to love. And then allow yourself to be loved by another person. So my wife loves me, not because I'm cool, not because I'm good looking, but because it's a gift. But I don't deserve it. I'm not good enough of a man to deserve it. That may be true, but it's a gift. Receive the gift, but so many of us don't receive the gift on the level of humanity and on the divine level. We just sort of think, no, I can't, I'm not worthy. If you really knew me, if you really saw my wounds, you wouldn't love me. So, and I'm aware of my wounds, and therefore I'm aware of how unlovable I am. And we've already condemned ourselves, missing out on that euphoric joy that we were all meant to experience. My daughter's like everybody else. She wants that. And you know what's fun? The greatest way to show my daughter that? Come on over to my house for a tea party. She'd be over the moon with joy. You don't need to be a cellist. You don't need to be a violinist, a pianist, or a singer, or a composer. You just need to show up. Isn't that great? What we could mean to other people just by showing up. But we sometimes forget that, and we don't show up. So nobody comes over for a tea party with my daughter. It's interesting because the greatest saints and the greatest thinkers in the past have always said the greatest expression in the human condition is charity. I love that. Charity is always the answer. Hollywood isn't. Washington isn't. Charity is always the answer. It's always the right thing to do. You have an opportunity to show charity to somebody. Take the opportunity. I've got one better for you. Look for the opportunity to be charitable. Look for it. And the greatest, you want the greatest? The greatest is to look for it in people you don't like. That's the greatest. Sometimes we shovel our neighbor's driveway and we think, I feel good about myself. I just shoveled her driveway. And that's good. That's a good thing to do. However, what about the uncle that's ornery, that's always in a bad mood, that always sucks the joy out of the room, sucks the air out of the room? When you take him for lunch and he's always putting you down and he's always angry and he's always ornery and he's always negative, he's always pessimistic and cynical, never has anything good to say, puts people down. And after the hour of being together, you're so frazzled you don't know what to do with yourself. And then you pay the bill and you leave and you swear you'll never get together with him again. That may be the greatest form of charity ever. Charity doesn't have to feel good to be effective and to be real and to be right. Sometimes it's like salt in your wounds. It's still the greatest thing to do. And my daughter has that down. So friends, my daughter needs someone to come over for a tea party. Now, I live in Kentucky. That's a little far. Who's in your community? Who do you work with? You know, we live in America, the land of the fine. Hey, how's it going? Fine. How you doing? Fine. Everybody's so darn fine. But sometimes we don't realize the demons people are fighting behind that fine. And they hide it. And they hide it. Be charitable. You don't know the pain people are enduring. So friends, this is a love song to my beautiful little girl. When my daughter was born, she was born with a bad heart. And at 3 months, she went into heart failure. And so I wrote this piece when she was in the operating room and I was in the waiting room. This is a love song called Here I Am.
Be still when your back's against the wall. Victory, there seems no hope at all. I'll be your wings that soar so high, the side of paradise. Now be still until you're strong. Here I am, I'm your fire when it's cold. Here I am, I'm your guide when you've lost your road. I'm your armor and fills of war when the enemy storms the door. Here I am Take my hand when shadows hide your way. Take my hand, there come a brighter day. For the love of you and me is for eternity. Take my hand, close by. Here I
Thank you. Thank you so much, friends. So we're coming back in about 6 months or so, and love to, continue doing things in this community. I will serve as much as you can. We can set up and we can make happen. The goal is to expose this to as many people as possible. It's great for children to hear the brilliance of the violin and the incredible sound and giftedness of the cellist and the beautiful voice. It's so good for them to hear that. It's pretty fascinating when you think about that one boy in that gang that stood up. And he said, that violin's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. Why have I never heard it before? That boy knows everything about rap and hip hop and screamo metal and punk rock and acid rock and heavy metal and all that stuff. And he knows nothing about things that uplift his humanity. We should be bathing our children in beauty. It brings hope. So friends, you know what? We stay in our lanes. We use the gifts that we have and the gifts God has given us to do as much as good as we can on this earth while we have the great gift of time. Because time is a gift that will run out. So I just want to be as generous as possible with the gifts he's given me. And I encourage you to do the same, especially now when so many people are struggling with hope. It's been an awesome evening, and so it's, again, an honor, and I look forward to working with you, Pastor, in the future. So any way that I can serve you in your community, the answer is yes. So thank you all so much.